Hello and welcome to the Walk in Love podcast. I'm TJ.
And I'm Brooke.
And today we're going to talk about
the life-changing habit of deciding once.
Well, I almost got so distracted I forgot to hit the button. Welcome to the Walk in Love podcast, a weekly conversation between Brooke and I where we talk about emotions, rhythms, parenting, faith, and more. And we sometimes laugh and sometimes cry. I don't have
write it down.
Well, it's on my phone.
Oh,
but we're trying. We got new phones, and we're trying to use mine to record because like we record on this like kind of janky webcam for YouTube, and so it's written on my phone. You have
it. You should have copied it over.
I should have,
so I
just went for it. I think I nailed it.
Yep,
nailed it. Yes, thank you for listening. Thank you for making us a part of your week. We are so glad you're here. We have a big announcement. The Christmas collection comes out on October 14th.
Wow.
Unless you're a subscriber on Instagram, you'll get early access October 13th, which is this week. If you're listening on Monday, it's this week.
That's insane.
And let me show you the item.
Oh, wait.
We don't have the items yet. The hurricane delayed quite a bit of things, including our Christmas samples, which is fine. They should be here tomorrow or Saturday, and we will start previewing them almost immediately. Like, we'll probably just even open them out of the box and start previewing them there. Like, no delay. No time to put them on hangers.
There's no time.
There's no time, people. But we're super excited. I think the collection is really, really great. Has a lot of classic reprints as well as some brand new designs that are super fun, and I think you're going to love it. We have new products. We have a product we've never done before. We have a lot of kid stuff, and it would mean the world to us if you shopped for Christmas gifts from Walk in Love. Obviously, it's just super beneficial and amazing, and we're really, really appreciative of it. When you do that, we will share a discount code at some point. I think my phone is getting a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just put my computer on Do Not Disturb.
Click, click, click.
I go click, click, click.
I go online. I go click, click, click.
Do you want to check to make sure that's still recording?
Yeah.
So, if you want to support the podcast, there's lots of ways to do that now. We're trying to just develop more robust ways to do that. One way is by shopping the collection. That's the number one way. That's just a way that really, really benefits our business, and it's what we do for a living. Another way is subscribing on Instagram, which is a really great, helpful way, and that way gives you a lot of perks. So you'll get the best discount for this collection. You'll get a day early access for anything that might sell out in that first hour-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And another way you can support the podcast, you can shop from Brooke's Beauty Counter link, which is always in the show notes, or you can go to her Instagram on Easy Pretty Clean. And it just means the world to us.
Well, and I will add, I mean, it does mean the world to us. That's true. Like, it is what we do. But I fully believe that we're not just selling T-shirts. And it's why we make the art we make and we choose the things we do, because like they really are reminders you can wear. And so, if somebody has their Christmas list pre-made and nothing even resembling a Walk in Love shirt is on that list, I mean, I guess you could still give them one. Like, that's a great idea. But like for the person who's like, I don't know, whatever, or just like maybe needs this reminder, or they don't know they need the reminder.
Right.
I think that's where our stuff can be so strong. It's subtle. It's not in your face. It's not like the, hey, come to church because you need to hear this sermon vibe, where you're like, oh, you brought me here because you think I need this. But like, I do feel like it's a really nice way to be like, I see what you're going through. I see, it can be a more positive thing. Like, I see what you've been working on in your life. And this shirt reminded me of you, or this sweatshirt, this design. And then they get to wear it. And I just feel like that's a really cool connection.
100%.
That's not, not to diss like a Target item or an Old Navy item or anything like that, but like, it's very different, I think, on the connection point.
And they do start a surprisingly amount of conversations. So this just happened at the gym. I was wearing I have a bunch of old tank tops that I wear to the gym, and I had a 70x7 tank top on, and Svetlana, who's one of the coaches, says, what does that mean? She's from Russia. And I'm like, 70x7, it's from the Bible. It's like when someone asked Jesus how many times they should forgive someone. And he was like, he kind of turned their thinking on its head and said 70 times, 7 times. And she's like, oh, that's a lot. And then she started talking to someone else and they're like, it's like once and done for me. And it's like, but now they're thinking about that. And now they're having a
like
separate
a
side
conversation
conversation about, and like, been asked about the salt and light one. And so, again, I think it's just like, we've been doing it for so long. And so sometimes I forget that. But then like just this week I was reminded of it. So yeah. Christmas collection. It'll be the last time that we're open, in the year. And so yeah, we're super stoked. October 14th, 13th, if you're subscribing on Instagram. And, we'll start previewing it. Well, we've hopefully already started previewing it
by the time
you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
The other big news is Brooke's birthday tomorrow. 36 years old.
3 words for you. Treat yourself.
How does it feel?
Feels good? Question mark? No, I think it feels good. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like,
you feel older?
No, don't feel any older. I think I look older. I don't know if I feel older. It's like my brain still feels, I don't know, just generally out of college and married and having kids. Like I'm somewhere in that wide range of like, I'm not in college and I am married and I have children, but it's like a sliding scale of like that in there. And then I look in the mirror or in my new iPhone and I'm like, oh gosh. Monster. 36 at least. No. I'm half joking, but beauty counter. It's making me look a lot better. That is not a joke. That is very real. No, I feel good. And I feel like, oh gosh, I don't want to get emotional. That's not true. It's not that I don't want to. Having emotions is fine. It can derail me sometimes when I'm trying to focus on a podcast.
You had an interesting trip
I've
around
had a crazy, like from 35 to 36. I mean, when I turned 35, we had just gotten keys to this house and you had painted one room and that was where my birthday corner was. And Daisy was less than 3 weeks old. And so like, we keep saying it's like that game where you put your head on the baseball bat, like, and you're standing and somebody spins you and then you try to walk or run and not break your collarbone. I'll never forget my uncle falling and breaking his collarbone in our backyard. And we were like, oh gosh, too far. This game has gone too far.
Oh man.
Oh, too far? No, not working.
Let me try that again.
Oh no. The one time I say too far. Anyway, don't worry about it.
Here we go. I hit the button.
Too far!
There we go.
There you go. Sorry about that, people.
Right on time.
Episode 142.
So of course I do feel like I started spinning on the bat before 35.
Right.
But yeah, man, 35 to 36, like basically Daisy's first year of life, which is just like, and again, we've said it like 9,000 times. She was a wonderful, calm baby. Like, not that some babies are good or some babies are bad. I don't mean it like that, but it's just like, she was easier in comparison to Sunny.
We're not naming names here.
Not naming names, but to the second
Sunny,
one.
when you listen to this, know that you are the fire that burns.
Oh, you're the best.
Our family bright and makes our family excited and energetic. And the thought of you listening to this
makes me emotional right now. So, maybe she never will. Maybe she'll think she's way too cool for us. And then when she's in that like college through married through early age, when she's sliding around in there in her brain, maybe she'll listen.
It's weird to think that like our generation of children will be the generation that grows up. Like we had some photos to look back at. This generation of children will be like, I could look back and
for some children whose parents have done the second a day from the moment they were born app,
right,
could literally almost see every day of their life for a second. Yeah. Like that's insane.
But it's almost like, they can go back, like this whole generation of kids that are being born right now, like depending on the type of sharing their parents did, will get such a deeper insight into who their parents were than we ever could. Because like my parents will tell me stories, but I'm not learning about like what emotionally they were going through because they honestly don't even really remember. Like, and so we're unpacking these emotions as we're going through them.
Unless they had like a journal that we could read, that would kind of be the only like, how do I get to know my parents back then? Yeah.
So it's just wild to think.
That is wild.
Girls, we love you.
yeah, so it's been a crazy year. I'm grateful to be through the like big part of postpartum, like, you know, emotionally, hormonally, like that's all done. My voice is back, which is just insane and incredible. And
Yeah.
I find that I don't think about it now that it's back because it does feel so normal and natural. And then when I think about how I'm not thinking about it, it makes me realize how much I thought about it and how bad it got. And it happened every time. And so I'm trying not to be like, you should have known, Brooke, and like, you should have done something sooner. Cause there's a lot of grace there. I'm trying to show myself, but like, yeah,
it's crazy.
It happens so slowly that you just, you meaning me, like, or anybody who has something like this that happens slowly, you just sort of are like, no, it's fine. It's not any worse than last week or things are the same because it's such a slow progression towards terrible.
Yeah.
And so you kind of justify it or say, yeah, I'll get there.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I feel like the year you had, 35 to 36, is like the montage year in a movie of just like, gosh, this is rough. Like, are you going to make it? Not are you going to make it, like, are you going to survive? You know, but it's just like, there, I don't feel like there were a lot of highlights. Like,
For me personally.
there were highlights in our lives.
There were highlights as a family,
but like
as a whole.
For you, emotionally, personally, as an individual, it was just a rough year. Like, you were in that, like, grinding it out emotionally montage through the year. And I feel like what in the last few weeks with Abby starting, with our lives having a little bit more rhythm, like a little bit more vision, you know, I feel like you're like coming out of a practice room or practice or like, and you're like ready to step on the track,
get on the
and
field
like,
or whatever.
you know, like,
ooh, the track. I like that.
Yeah. And you're ready to like get in, like the
cheer floor, the competition squad floor. Yeah. Been there.
You got the baton in your hands. You're ready.
I've lit the ends on fire and I'm ready to go. Watch me twirl, world.
And I feel like I told this to you the other day. I'll tell it to you in the podcast because I think honesty, we try to be as honest here as we can. I feel like I let you down a lot this year in terms of like, I didn't know how to respond to you having such a hard time. Like, I didn't know how to fix it. And so and you've talked about it. We've talked about it. Like, oh, you were on an island, TJ. And I think it was because I was like, I'm scared. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to do what I can control. And I feel like we didn't relationally suffer. Like, you know, when we look back at 35 to 36, it's not like, oh man, that was a hard year for our marriage. Like, actually, I think it was a great year, but I think I could have provided a better practice room. Like, if we're going to go with that language, like, I think I could have given you more time to come out on the field and like, you know, let's do a test run and see how you're feeling and going. And like, I think the voice is what really threw me off, is like, I don't know what to do. Cause like there's much of your work is with your voice. And so I didn't know how to like, and you get a lot of fulfillment out of work. And I feel like not that I was like, hey, don't work, but it just like, we didn't schedule and orient our lives in a way that you could do that easily. Yeah. But I think part of me looking back was like, oh, I think that I just didn't know how because of the voice.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is like, we're gearing up now to restart Friday Finds. Like, we're going to start it as a YouTube channel. Yeah. I'll actually link it. It has no videos, but it has it has our graphic, which I think is super cool. I'm very proud of the graphic.
Smash that subscribe button. We have 0 videos.
0 videos.
0 plan. No,
but
we do have a plan.
But the crazy thing about that is like, we did that on Instagram, and then we did 3 episodes on YouTube. 2 of those episodes, and we didn't like, I mean, we talked about it, but we weren't like, everybody go watch all the time. But 2 of those videos have like almost the most views out of any of our videos we've ever done.
Right. And
so I'm like, oh, there might be something here. And so I went back to look at them, and I was like, I'm going to watch them again to see like,
what did we even talk about?
Yeah. What the vibe was, and like, how can we like make it, like, how can we do it and be consistent? And your voice sounds so bad.
Yeah.
Like, I was like,
especially in those videos, because we're not mic'd.
I was just like,
and so I couldn't project because I needed to project because we weren't mic'd at all. And so it was just the mic on the camera or the phone or whatever we were using.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there saying that. I remember saying like, you're so loud compared to me right now. I feel like this doesn't sound good, but it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And I mean it. Like when something in your life, oh, here we go.
It's okay. Let it rip.
Potato chip. When something in your life becomes that debilitating, what do?
Yeah.
Not show up?
Right.
And I don't think that's the answer always.
Right.
And so I think the answer is you show up in the capacity you can, in the ways that you can.
Right.
And then you have to let that be enough.
Yeah.
And that's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's why I continue to preach, if you will. Like, if you have something in your life like that, physically or emotionally, that's that debilitating to your life,
Right.
do everything you can to fix it and start today.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's some people who have debilitating things that they can't fix. It's
Right.
life.
Yeah.
And so, you can continue to figure out, how can I show up in the ways that I can in the capacity. Like, you can continue to work on all that and have a lot of like grace and freedom around that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, it's just not fun to do things that aren't fun,
Mm-hmm.
like surgeries and like rehab and
Mm-hmm.
hard conversations, or like,
Or like the grunt work, like, we're doing all this grunt work right now to feel like, man, it's been a weird year.
yeah,
Business wise, like, and so it's like, okay, we've been through weird years before. Like, we've been doing this long enough. Thankfully, that's one thing I'm super thankful for is like,
Yes.
even though this year has been very strange in terms of like economy and pricing and timing and like all the
all
things.
of it coming off of COVID. And
Yeah.
literally we joke supply chain.
Yeah.
But literally the supply chain.
Yeah, like I just have to sometimes, like, when we were talking to the people that are producing Tiny Rhythms, and they're like, hey, magnets are way more expensive than they used to be now, and it's just like, you're just like, oh, okay, like you just
I mean,
have
you
to,
kind of just have to accept it. That's kind of where we're at. There's
but
there's not much pushback anymore. Like, I think you can get a better price.
but it's like I don't want to. I think what I'm trying to say is like, yes to you, and sometimes those things are physical or emotional, but sometimes they're just like literally just like
just the boring hard work of life.
And you're just like,
Yeah.
man, I just gotta kind of slog through this, but I want to set that example for my kids. I want to do that because I want to provide for my family. I want to do that because God has given me a gift of life, and I'm going to honor it. And if that means I'm honoring it by, slogging through something on my computer or running on the beach with my kids, like both
Yeah.
of those are going to be praise to him. And it's just like, I don't know. I we talked about it, just like, oh, it's your birthday, and now we're here.
Yeah.
I do feel like it's worthy of acknowledging that, like, like, I love the idea of like a trip around the sun. Like, you got on, obviously you didn't just get on planet Earth last year.
Right.
Or did you?
Matrix. We're still in it, people.
But it's like, man, that was a tough trip. Like, we've all had tough trips. We've all had like hard travel.
Personally, I still keep feeling the need
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like clarify that, because I hate to even say this, but I will. I hope somebody's like, oh, you moved to Maui, it was your toughest year. Like, I'm just like, come on, people. That's not what I'm talking
No.
That's not what we're talking about.
No.
Did I say it's my hardest year ever, or the family or business? No. But me personally,
Yeah.
with all the things that happened.
And it's really like, it was really
It
like
was-
all boiled down to like, you started talking after your voice rest and it was not good. And it was like that's
when it
month,
got real bad
2
real
months
fast.
of just like, wow, what is our life going to look like? Because we were
Yeah.
really in that mode of like, is this going to change the trajectory of our life? Like, what if it doesn't improve? What if it doesn't get better? And there were a lot of emotions around that. And that was like, just and so like as a whole, your trip around the sun was like, I mean, there was part of it that was like some of the most full
100%.
things we've ever done as a family. And as
Shocker,
like,
it was both and.
yeah. But then it's like that, there's those moments where you're just like, that was really, really difficult. And I think, and we've talked about this before, but I think it always deserves repeating, is like, that's why I love birthdays. And like, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like birthdays, blah, blah, blah. Like, I think it's so valuable. Like, obviously God created the world to live. There's rhythms within the world. And we talk about all the time, 7-day rhythm, like the months are based on the moon or what, like you can find the history of all that, but like there's a rhythm to life. And if we're not taking stock at the moments of those rhythms, like at the moment of a year or a new year or a new school year, or like whatever the rhythms are in your life, you're not
or
taking
even like, not to go here, but like even like internally as women, I'll just leave it at that. Like we have an internal rhythm. Is it like, so when a man loves a woman, oh gosh, episode 140, whatever.
Too far.
Yeah, like, but I felt the need to go there because I'm watching a hormone healing class for my friend Sarah, and I'm not very far in. I'm literally like, I'm not even through the intro yet, and I'm already like, okay, yeah. I don't pay attention to my body, and I have been more than ever. Like I already have been more than ever, and I still am like, yes, like we were made this way, and the 7-day rhythm, and the stuff for girls, and like all sorts of stuff, like stuff for quote unquote. I'm gonna start a tampon brand, and it's just called Stuff for Girls. But like we are created to live within these rhythms, and I feel like, I don't know, call it society, call it whatever, has like shoved us into these other rhythms. And I feel like when we start paying attention to like the natural rhythms of the world in God's world and the way he made it, like it really can be life-changing. And it can be these touch points at different points throughout your life that help you reflect, help you be more present, and help you, I think, really propel you forward with more gratitude and clarity and all those kinds of things.
1000%. So take stock of what he's done, especially like as you move, as you start your next journey around the sun. I think that's so valuable. And we do it with our kids. Like Daisy turned 1 and we spent hours looking at photos of her, from 0 to 1. And then like, your kids turn 7 and you're like, here's a photo of you on your first birthday. Oh,
I know.
And it's like,
how are you so tall?
Like you've grown so much, you've learned so much, you've done so much. Like we're so confident and proud of our children. And then it's like, oh, I turned 36. Like, okay, I'm guess I'm 1 year older, like 1 year closer to death.
Oh. I don't say it as much as I used to.
There was a season of life where Brooke would lay down in bed and she's like,
one day closer to death. And I'd lay down to go to sleep. And you would be like already laying down, real relaxed. And it was like, I was being funny, but also true.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So I didn't expect to go there, but
Me
we
neither.
did. And well done.
Hopefully I can get my face back together.
Okay,
because
so
I have a few more videos to record.
I'll do, we're going to do Mount Rushmore. We haven't done it in a while.
Yeah.
So Mount Rushmore, 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 Rushmore.
Oh, zippity zappity.
Of dream Halloween costumes as a kid.
Okay.
So Brooke was like, let's do Mount Rushmore of costumes we were as a kid. And I was like, I don't have any memory. I don't think my parents took pictures of me.
No, they did. They did, because I've seen some. But it wasn't as easy back then,
No.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I know my parents took pictures of me, but I don't have like a vivid memory of like this was Halloween. This was Halloween.
Spooky, scary.
Werewolf bar mitzvah. If you get that reference, you should probably be a subscriber. Okay,
we sang it backwards, so I feel like
werewolf bar mitzvah, spooky, scary. Okay.
I've said for years I want that to be a soundbite, and I'm like, it's so specific.
Yeah.
How would we ever fit it in?
Okay, I'll have it by the Halloween episode.
Okay.
Okay. For me, do you want me to go all 4 in a row, or do you want to go first? Are we going?
Why don't we go every other?
Okay. Ghostbuster.
That makes sense.
Like a Ghostbuster with like not the plastic backpack, like some like the
Legit.
real like I mean obviously it'd probably be plastic, but like looks more than just like a one piece. Like it works. I can pull the gun out.
Have you seen the car parked near the gym that looks like the Ghostbuster car?
Yeah.
Well, I've seen it too.
There's monsters inside of it. Have you looked in the windows?
No.
Yeah, there's
I'm
like
not getting close to a Ghostbuster car. Although I've never seen the original. I've only now seen the one we just talked about. Okay, my number. Well, not number. I don't know if they're in order. It's just here we go.
And this is like me sort of projecting.
I know. Exactly. I'm like, okay, what was I just like? What did I want to be?
Yeah.
What did I want to be back then?
Yep.
Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Both?
Either or. I don't know. Maybe my costume is that I'm both.
Half and half.
Half and half. And then you're like, but you look the same. And I'm like, don't I?
Don't I?
See? Because they're twins.
Or is it like Michael Scott where you have the
Oh,
dummy?
just the paper mache head next to me. I just, I mean, they were the coolest things.
Like what version? Full House or like more of their
No, more like when they started
their New York movie?
like New York Minute.
Sam watched that movie.
See,
I think,
and
like
Sam and I were in the same
1,000
class,
times.
same age. So just like anything, they were just, and
They're
then
probably
they
wearing berets.
they had a TV show for a while where they were
Yeah, it's called Full
sisters.
House.
No, where they were sisters. Well, they are sisters. They were maybe in like I actually don't know how old they were, but Chloe and I think Riley were their names, which is about as cool as it comes. I don't know if Riley was right. I know Chloe was right. I couldn't decide which one I wanted to be when I grew up, but I was going to be one of them. Now I want to be nothing like them, which is crazy.
That's a spicy take. All right, my next one, G.I. Joe. I loved G.I. Joes.
Yeah.
Like we had the fort, we had some tanks. Me and Nick, my brother Nick, would play G.I. Joes for hours. And then once we got older,
my brother was into him.
We got into making stop motion videos of G.I. Joes where he would interview me in between.
Oh gosh.
And they are so embarrassing.
I'd like to find that.
Okay.
My brother was very into G.I. Joes, and he got one with a parachute. Or we had a little parachute. Somehow we attached one to a
I got
parachute.
one with a parachute right here.
No, like a real parachute. And it floated so far off that they lost it. And so we ran through the woods and through the fields. MIA, truly. Taylor was devastated.
Oh, I believe it.
And my parents were, I even remember it now. I feel like I could see them looking at each other like, we should have known. Like, what were we thinking that this would just come down? Like, and of course it's just going to float away with his favorite toy attached to it. Poor guy.
It's like those bad
I should get him a G.I.
gender
Joe for
reveals
Christmas.
where it's like the balloon and it just starts floating away.
And then they never get to pop it.
Okay. So my second one is Ghostbuster and then G.I. Joe. But there wasn't one specific one. It's just like any of them. Right. Any sort of like tough looking.
Yeah.
Probably have like paint on my face and like an armband around my bicep as a kid.
Unquote. Yes.
It's the same size as my forearm.
It just keeps sliding down. You keep sliding it back up because it's the same.
Yeah.
Okay. My next one would be Mermaid/Ocean Girl. Just anything where it felt like I was like cool and my hair was wavy and maybe I was magical. I know. I feel like I need to do this with my hands. Just like,
is the wind always blowing in your?
Oh, all the time. It's kind of like here.
It's kind of like, me trying to drink a Coca-Cola and get on the commercial. That's, I feel like the Halloween vibe. Yeah.
Same vibe. Like, I'm going to get discovered, which is funny because even as a kid, I knew I could never be an actress. Like I could never stand in front of a room of people and act and like they're all watching. I just don't think I could do that, which is funny because I can be on stage with a room of people, but that's different to me. But I'm like in a movie. I always wanted to be, but then I was like, there's no way. I'm too.
I
don't know if self-conscious is the word.
Endearing thing for you as a kid, like that you were self-aware enough to be like, yeah, it's not for me. Where every kid's like, I can do anything I want.
Oh, I'm
going to be
very
a starting
self-aware as a kid.
Wide receiver. I'm like, you're 4'1". I don't know. I don't
know, buddy. But keep dreaming. Keep dreaming. Oh no, I knew. Yeah.
Okay, so Mermaid Ocean Girl.
Mermaid Ocean Girl.
Okay. My second one is Mike Piazza, starting catcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
That's good.
Yeah.
Sports, but a specific guy who's real cool.
Yeah, I thought I had a poster of him on my wall. I played catcher. My mom met him on an airplane one time. So
Connection.
So
it might have been his connection.
So when we moved to Pennsylvania, my mom flight attendants have a home base where they fly all of their trips out of.
Yes, they leave for work from the same airport every time.
And so my mom was based in LAX when we lived in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved to Pennsylvania, but her transfer to Philadelphia had not gone through. So she was still based in LAX. So that means she would get on a plane from Philly, fly to LA, fly her trips.
To start work, yeah.
End in LA, and then fly back to...
No joke.
Philadelphia, and then come home. So like really intense. And I remember the day she walked in, she's like, my transfer went through! And so Mike Piazza played for the Los Angeles Dodgers, but he's from Pennsylvania. So there was a season where she had a baseball in her
carry-on
or in her, like with her luggage, because while she worked trips, because she's like, I don't know, there's a chance. I've run into famous people before. And then eventually it like got moved or misplaced, and he was on her plane.
And she didn't have the baseball?
She didn't have the baseball, and she was just like, I cannot believe this is happening. So he signed a piece of paper for me.
Oh.
But yeah, number 3, Mike Piazza.
Wow.
Los Angeles Dodgers starting catcher. And then they went on to play for the New York Mets, but
Nice.
to me, he's always a Dodger.
Yeah, of course. My next one would have been, and I actually was this one year for Halloween, like a groovy hippie. Not a dirty hippie, a groovy, like flower power. Because that was like big when I would have been in like maybe like 5th, 6th grade.
Okay.
Like when we were shopping at Limited 2, when it was still called that, TOO. And everything was just like flower power, daisies.
It's come back around, too.
It's come back around. I had a blow up chair in my room that had daisies all over it. It was just like, that was the thing. And so it was that
Wow.
like groovy bell bottom hippie vibe.
Nice.
Yeah.
My last one, again, this is me projecting, but Mario.
Oh man.
Yeah. I love Super Mario Brothers.
That's good. That would have been a good costume.
Would have been. And Chris Pratt posted a teaser,
I
like
know.
a teaser image of the Mario movie, and it looks like it should look.
Okay.
You know, like
that's
there's
exciting.
always this fear of like, are they going to try to like, you know, modernize it or make it, you know, whatever. But like visually from the still shot that he looks, it's like, yeah, that is on brand for Mario. So
Okay, that's
gives me hope.
exciting.
Gives me hope.
My last one would be this is an either or. Lizzie McGuire
Okay.
or Ren which was the sister from Even Stevens. Ren wasn't as cool, but I look more like her because I have dark hair. But again, just like
I took a quiz on BuzzFeed.
it said I should be. No, I actually don't know what it would say it would be. But Lizzie McGuire, man, her outfits, which is funny because you look at it now. Actually, you look at any Disney Channel thing, even now, and it's a little bit similar to what I used to say when I used to shoot like senior photos or anything like that.
Right.
Like you can get away with more in a picture than you could just walking down the street.
Yeah.
People would be like, why are you wearing all that? You wear it in a photo or you wear it in a video.
People are
or
stretching
something.
that rubber band.
They are stretching it. That's
in
true.
2022, 2030.
Very true. But like, even knowing that, like you can get away with more on TV, sometimes I'm like, the outfits these Disney Channel characters were wearing, yowzes.
Okay.
But
So those are your 4.
man, Lizzie.
Nice.
That
That's
would've
a
been
good
cool.
list. And you have some strong feelings.
My strong feelings are just that I'm very into the subscribers.
Yeah.
I was hesitant, not about the people subscribing, but just like, I don't know, do we want to do this?
Yeah, we're
Is
really
this
going to be able to
smart?
show up that
Like,
way. Like,
I don't know. I just, me, a little hesitant. Like, are we sure?
yeah.
I don't want to have any regrets.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it, which
You
is
are.
really, really cool.
And it's good. So yeah, subscribe on Instagram. My
Smash that subscribe button. We can actually say that now.
Wow. My strong. So those are your feelings.
Huh. And they're
And they're
strong.
Strong feelings. My strong feelings are okay. So I'm one of my favorite book series of all time. It's called Red Rising by Pierce Brown.
Okay.
I have read it twice and I've listened to it all the way through once, and I'm now listening to it all the way through a second time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's awesome. It's like a sort of like Star Wars meets something like Game of Thrones, like Star Wars, but with like a lot of honor and houses and like sort of
That's
like,
where it has the Game of Thrones element, I guess.
Yeah.
In the like.
but it's like definitely space, definitely science fiction. But it's definitely like it's a story. Yeah, it's just a great story. And so
I've listened to almost the whole first
Yeah.
book, and I can agree.
And it's the only book that I read or listen to that I'm like, man, I wish I could make this movie. Like I actually like, because I went to film school. I thought I would make movies for a living.
Yeah.
I ended up not, obviously, but it's the only movie. It's the only story that I listen to that I'm like, man, this.
I'm
like,
getting back in the game.
Oh, it's just so good. It's so good, and it's so descriptive, and like you can just visualize the shots and the flow and the feel and the vibe. And so my strong feelings are, I just don't want them to make it into a movie or series now. Like in the current age of like,
They'll ruin it.
they'll ruin it.
Yeah.
They'll ruin it. They'll read the books and they'll be like, we went straight off the source material, and then it'll be like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't.
Liar.
You liar. You're lying to me. And like it just keeps happening so frequently
from the
now. And so my strong feelings are like, don't do it to Red Rising.
Yeah.
Like
Just don't.
just don't. Just please don't.
Yeah.
Just like let's wait till this pendulum swings from like, and just like let's just make it later.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
those
get
are my
that.
feelings, and they're strong.
Yeah.
I might lose sleep about it.
You might.
But anyways, if you need a great book, I think we have like a code where you get a free audiobook. I'm gonna put that in the show notes
somewhere.
And you can start with Red Rising, and
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
it can be a little graphic, not like sexual graphic, more
No.
like people are getting killed graphic.
Right.
So
Well, yeah,
it's Red will rise.
it is.
Okay, Brooke,
Yes. How long have we been talking? I
35
feel like
minutes.
it's a long time.
35 minutes. What do you want to talk about?
Today's topic is pretty simple, and so I feel like we actually might blow through it kind of fast, but
Nice.
it's not, I don't think we need to draw it out to make the point. So, oh, that was the air conditioning turning on. I thought a kid was opening
Why
the door.
waste time? Say lot word when few word do trick.
Exactly. So I'm titling it The Life-Changing Habit of Deciding Once, because
Okay.
I think that it is life-changing if
Yeah.
you use it. So I heard the phrase coined from Kendra, the lazy genius, but there's just no way that she came up with this entirely. I think it's in a lot of books about, I mean, you could apply it to leadership. You could apply it to just like productivity in life. You could apply it to like minimalism and trying to live like that kind of way. So I think maybe the phrase decide once is maybe hers, but the concept I don't think is hers. I just feel like she's boiled it down into like your everyday life, which is helpful. But so I definitely do this a little bit naturally, and I didn't know that I was doing it. And then when I had the language to be like, that's what I'm doing, and that's why it's life. That's why it's a game changer. No.
Game changers.
I'll just do the intro.
Right. And so how it works is literally
There's another one that I've not used on there still.
Okay. Maybe you can fit it in later.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
Okay. I have no idea what it's about, or I would try to
Okay.
toss it to you.
Yeah.
But I mean, how it works is literally you just decide once about something. And I do feel like I need to say,
Oh, thanks for listening.
yep. Well, love you guys. See ya. But just like we all have defaults in our life, the way we make dinner, the way we communicate with somebody, the
Right.
gifts we buy, the like anything, like we have these natural defaults.
Yep.
I'm not saying that they're all bad. They're definitely not all bad.
Nope.
But there's a large portion of them that we've never actually thought about. Is that really what I want to be doing? And like, is that the best thing? And does that actually help? It's just kind of like, oh, that's the way it was. And
Or that's just the way it's like kind of evolved into. Like I think
Yeah.
a great example of this, and Cal Newport points this out in his book Digital Minimalism, is like we bought a phone that we thought we could make calls on the go,
yes.
and then it became something that we can text and check and do all these things, and like we never agreed
we
to
didn't
that.
really sign up
We
for
didn't
that.
sign up for that, but that's just sort of what it's evolved into. And so like
Yes.
his whole concept is like we need to proactively decide what this device is for
us.
us.
As individuals.
You know, like just don't let it just become what it is for everybody, because
Yes.
like, and he describes tech companies as cigarette companies with skinny jeans, because like that,
Yeah.
that's what they're doing. They're just,
Yeah. I mean, they're aiming to make an addictive device.
yep.
So, because if they can have your eyeballs, they can eventually get to your wallet.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Anyways. And so I feel like
No, that's
a
great.
good,
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I heard it from Kendra, but like,
Yep.
I think there's probably lots of ways and places that this concept shows up.
yeah, there's a million ways
And you
to
can
sort of
apply
it.
it to a jillion different things. And so like, I think talking about like last we were talking about, you know, in the home and how I fill out my little notes template every week,
Yep.
because I do desire to, and somebody commented on this on Instagram, like love this idea of like parents as the coach. And it's like our kids should not be running the game entirely. And like we are a poor coach if we show up to said game every morning or every week and are like, well, go play. Hope it
Yeah.
turns out all right. Like
Yep.
and
1,000%.
reading it back in her when she mentioned it on Instagram, I was like, that's a really good point.
Yeah, and
We
there's,
did have a good point.
we did it. Heyo, we did it. And I think one thing that's very kind of frustrating about culture, and this can be specific to like sort of Instagram culture, is like it's almost glorified to not have a plan and to not be the coach and to be like, this is my life. Well, you know, like, and there's, you know, like you can just be honest about your life without like having to be a train wreck. But it's like, yeah, I've thought about that over and over this week of like, yeah, I'm the coach, you know, like, and what is our team doing? What is our team moving towards? What's the mission we're trying? Like, you know, like the NFL, they want to win the Super Bowl. What's our Super Bowl? What are we like? And is it something yearly, or is it like, 10 years from now or 5 years from now? And so I think that's been very good. Like even in the moment, as I was saying, I was like, man, I'm saying this, but do I live it out day in and day out?
Yeah.
And it's,
and
and
so
then
the
you get
best
in like,
coaches, I think the best coaches, they come prepared.
yeah,
They put the work in advance, whether
100%.
that's late at night or in the morning or, coaching specifically, like anytime. But like, and as parents, are we doing that? Are we showing up and putting our best foot forward for the sake of the team? And like, of course we will lose games, and of course we'll have bad seasons and all that. It's not I'm showing up so it's all perfect. But deciding once has been super helpful for me, especially when I start to think about my coins, back to the coins conversation, both coins as an introvert, and then how we were also kind of using the idea of just like, I just only have so many coins in a day, introvert or not.
Yeah.
Like, and they're being spent sometimes and my kids are spending them and I'm like, I'm not going to have enough. And I'm going to panic at the end of the day, or shut down or stop trying. And so you can apply the idea of deciding once to almost literally anything, I think. And
so what are ways
I'm about to get practical. Blech. I do want to say they're not arbitrary hard lines, and they're also not decisions that leave no room for grace or growth. I'm not saying decide forever.
Right.
And you could say that deciding once is kind of the same concept. Like it kind of sounds the
Right,
same.
but it's like we set our 7-day rhythm.
I'm going to decide once in this season, or I'm going to decide once for this year, or until it no longer works for us.
Yeah.
And then I can decide once again. I'm not saying decide forever, set it and forget it. Why am I now it's just a default that I'm doing 4 years from now, and I'm not happy about it.
Yeah.
So I think ways to find like how to apply it to your life, and you're like, I don't know, what should I decide once on, would be anytime you're like, man, I wish we blah, 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 or I never know what to do when blah, 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 or I never have time for, or I'm tired of thinking about, or you know what drives me crazy? Insert whatever.
Right.
And like that might be a really quick way to like narrow down something you want to decide once on. So my biggest example, and I genuinely mean it when I say this is not a beauty counter pitch to anyone. I'm not like doing this topic just so I can get here.
Yeah.
But it is my best example that I've stuck with the longest. And so when I wasn't even a consultant, I wasn't doing the business or anything. I was just looking for a clean foundation because I realized that the one I loved that I had just spent a bunch of money on was way more terrible than I thought.
Essentially poison.
And they're sneaky because all the ingredients are on the box that you throw out immediately.
Right.
So when I flipped over my little jar bottle every day, I wasn't seeing that massive ingredient list of things that were scary because I had already thrown it away, which they do that on purpose.
Yep.
And that it's marketing in a bad way. But I wanted something clean. I wanted something, especially because I started connecting the dots between my voice and my hormones.
Mm-hmm.
My voice gets real bad real quick when I'm pregnant.
Yep.
So it's hormone related. The like rocket ship speed that takes off is hormone related. And so I was like, okay, well, what else? If I can't control that, because I do desire to have more kids, what can I do to maintain other hormones?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, it is things
a lot
like
of hormone talk today.
I know, it's kind of surprising. Your personal care products are huge. Eating organic foods, especially like meats and dairy and all that kind of stuff that can like have weird hormones in it. And this is not intended to be a hormone episode. That could be a whole other thing someday if we would like.
I'm here for it.
When I finish Sarah's class. But so I say that to say this is not a beauty counter pitch, but I decided when I was like, okay, I'm going to try their foundation. I decided then to join the business because I was like, if I love it, I want to be able to talk about it. And so my decide once for all of the cleaning up my personal products was like, if Beauty Counter has it, I'm going to try it.
Okay.
That was my decide once statement. And so when they came out with the vitamin C serum a year and a half into my Beauty Counter business, I was like, well, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try that one. I'm not going to try so-and-so's or so-and-so's.
Right.
And it's like, and that eliminates so much of this, like, I don't know. Should I try this one or should I try this one? Should I get their chapstick or this one? Which one's better? Blah, blah, blah. Honestly, they're all pretty good.
Yeah.
I genuinely mean it when I say beauty counters often perform better. Like they're not just like coconut oil in a little tube and you're like, oh, it's natural. And you're like, okay, but it doesn't do anything. Like I want
My
it to.
armpits still smell
Exactly.
horrible.
Exactly. And a lot of that like only natural stuff can fall into that area. But beauty counter has been a huge one for me of just like.
You just decided this was my brand.
And the point of deciding once, especially I feel like for us moms, and maybe you could say the same, is like, I want the brain space back. I want the coins back. I don't want to spend coins on making these decisions every day. And I should have looked up the statistic, but I don't have it. The amount of decisions the average person makes in a day, which is just like mind boggling because it's so much a part of just how we were made to think and function that we don't think about it. And so that's probably my biggest example that I've stuck with the longest. And I've seen so much success over in my personal life, sans business, just like, this is great. I've cleaned everything up. I didn't do it all at once by any means.
Right.
I'm still adding things to my pile of products and I'm switching stuff out and then they make new things. I'm like, this is great. Now so-and-so can use this.
Right.
That's been huge. Another example would be like maybe a year and a half ago, I just like flag in the ground. Tuesday is Taco Tuesday.
Boom.
What I really mean is that it's Mexican Food Tuesday. Right. I don't always literally make tacos, but it was like I made that decision once. I claimed it.
Yep.
And now when I'm meal planning, all I have to do is insert a brainless crowd pleaser Mexican food that we love and that I feel comfortable cooking. Or if I don't meal plan at all, and then I'm like, oh, it's Tuesday. Oh, okay. I'm not going through in my head the 70 recipes that I know and all this stuff. It's just like, no, today's Tuesday, so it's going to be some sort of Mexican food. What do we have?
Right.
So that's the life-changing power of it is that it's like, I'm not exerting so much effort in the moment because I took time, and by time, I mean probably a minute or less
to just
be like, nope, decided.
Yeah.
I think clothing is a huge one.
Yeah.
You know,
like if you need a great brand.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
To buy your t-shirts from over and over again. You can just trust them. And you're like, man, I also want to be encouraged by t-shirts.
Man, I wish somebody had like almost like a reminder that I could wear. I was actually not intending on doing that at all. But like, so like I'll use kids' clothes because we don't sell as many kids' clothes from Walk Alone. We sell some. Although this collection, guys, they're kids' hoodies. So y'all need to be ready. You need to have those digit accounts ready because they are good and we haven't done them in a while. But like kids' clothes, there are, I'll say 100, probably. Adorable online boutiques. I mean, just the cutest stuff. Everything from like, I just saw somebody yesterday posted this really cute, like Disney specific. It's like a Disney Christmas sweatshirt for people who are going to Disney around Christmas. And I was just like, this is the cutest thing. I probably need something like this. And then you go the other way and there's these like.
So I booked flights to Disney.
Yeah, because I bought the sweatshirt. Literally, that kind of stuff happens. I've decided once that in this season, and I don't know when it'll end, but I'm not shopping for many of those specific high-end, kind of expensive, but cute boutiques. It's just not for us right now.
Right.
Our kids are going too fast and we get gift cards from our credit card right now. So my kids' clothes are Target and Old Navy.
Yep.
And I'm just not ordering anywhere else. And I had to just like let it go and decide that's what I'm doing right now.
Yep.
And so then when I see something cute pop up or I get an email from Cotton On Kids, which I adore, which actually isn't super expensive.
Right.
I love Cotton On Kids, but I have to place a big order when I do it. And I'm just like, I'm just not doing that right now. And so I don't spiral positively or negatively into like, I don't know, should I?
Mm-hmm.
Let me spend a bunch of coins deciding whether I should or should not. Like I've just already decided that I'm not for now.
Yeah. And I especially think that if you relate to Brooke a lot, which I know a lot of you do, this can be an incredible
game changer.
Oh, I thought you were going to fit the new one in.
Because, like,
it's all in my head.
Like there are so many times, and we've talked about this here before. I'm like, it feels kind of exhausting to be you sometimes. But when I hear Brooke talk about like stuff like this, I'm like, oh, I already do this. You know, like I wear the same Vans, or I've decided that Vans are my shoes. I wear the same brand of shorts. I just wear Walk in Love t-shirts. I have the same brand of underwear. I have the same brand of no-show socks. I have the same brand of workout socks. I get my recovery and protein and performance all from
the
First
same
Form.
Yeah.
And
you're not like, I don't know. Should I use this protein or
like,
that protein or this one's out.
on sale or
I
this
finished,
one. Yeah.
Yes. You're not putting any energy into that because you've decided once.
No, I've decided that like any device we get is Apple. And so when I hear you saying this, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I have done this in my life.
Yeah. But there are probably other areas of your life that you could continue to apply it to.
Yes.
Like you're talking, like yours right now, and my examples are too. I think it's very helpful with things that we buy and consume.
Yes.
Whether it's food or clothes or gifts, like the things that are going in and out of our house and in and out of our wallets. That's very helpful.
I just made a decide once decision for your birthday.
Yeah.
So Brooke's birthday gift, I already gave it to her, is almond cow.
Yes.
I'll link in the show notes.
Yeah.
It's an almond milk maker.
It's a plant-based milk maker.
And
it's not just almonds, but yeah.
So we usually buy like I can't really do milk. It kind of roughs me up. So like we buy a lot of almond milk or oat milk or whatever. And then there's this viral post. It's like, hey, oat milk is like drinking canola oil. And you're like, oh gosh, this is why we can't have nice things. And so I was like, okay, well, like now we're in the now. So we read about it and it's like, okay, they're hiding all this stuff in here. Now we're at the store and we're trying to figure out which ones we should buy and which ones are bad and which ones are like hidden and like all the
They're
different
not cheap,
ingredients we should
especially
look
here.
for. And so it's just like, gosh, if only we had a way to know that like every plant-based milk we're drinking is good.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm going to decide. I wish I had the decider button.
I am the decider.
Do I have it?
This is the way the world.
No.
He yells it with similar gusto though.
And so like that was Brooke's birthday gift, which she guessed somehow. It's just infuriating to me.
I mean, I'm the one that told you about it. I was targeted on
told
Pinterest
me about it
a long time ago. You're right.
And
It
I
was
was
a
like,
long time ago.
You have a terrible memory. And I was like, this is gonna rock our world. Oh, I'm so pumped.
And then you spoke so confidently for 2.5 days that you've picked out the best gift you've ever gotten me. And so I said, well, what have I talked about in the last year?
It's my own fault.
That's a dead giveaway.
But like now we've decided that like once that, hey, we're just gonna make our own milk because we do drink a lot with our coffees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
Our espresso machine, another great example.
yeah.
Unfortunately, these are two very high priced items, but it was on purpose.
Yeah, like we're gonna
Like we
decide.
were like, okay, we're making
done.
coffees at home and we're not really finishing them because they don't really taste like we want them to taste. So now we're wasting stuff. We prefer iced coffees. Now we're buying all these iced coffee bottles, which we have now the physical bottles to get rid of.
Yep.
And we're just like, we're plowing through this too fast.
Yep.
It's too much. And then we go out to get a coffee because we're like, well, at least we know this one will taste good. And
Yeah.
now we're spending money there. And we were just like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Let's decide once, save for it if you need to.
Yep.
Mine was like you had a baby and survived. Life's going to be okay gift / birthday gift last year.
We got the coffee gift
we-
for last year, and now we're making the milk this year.
But we got an espresso machine and it has drastically changed our coffee habits. We
Yep.
decided once we're going to make our lattes at home.
Yep.
Done.
And it's so weird that like, again, these aren't like mind bending moments in
Is
life.
it breaking your mind?
It's not breaking my mind. I don't know if I've told that story on here where Sunny's,
She's trying
to say blow my mind. Like, that blows my mind. But she says break my mind.
Yeah.
And
That broke my mind.
And we're never going to correct
You're
her.
breaking my mind. Yeah.
But yeah, are there any other ones that
My
you
other
have?
example is like, and this is actually Kendra's example. I talk about her like I know her. I've never
Yeah.
met her. I've
We
talked
did
to her on
send her a
Instagram.
free t-shirt though.
I did. Yeah. She didn't spend her whole gift card yet.
And the
so I'm-
shirt that she picked has shooken you to your core.
It has. I mean, I love all of our shirts. I do. Kendra, if you're magically listening, I love the item you picked. It just surprised me.
You just thought she had a different vibe. But maybe she's decided once that that's her color.
Okay, 100% though. That's just it. And I think that's what equally shook me is that I know that she's not making her decisions willy-nilly because that's not how she works.
Right.
And so I was like, so this is falling into one of her 12 principles. And I am so fascinated to see, I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Her example that she gives is like, her kids are all in school. So she gives a teacher gift at the end of every year. She's
Right.
going to get, teacher gifts is on her mind. She needs to do it. And so she has decided once what those teacher gifts are. The first year, like whether
Walk and
it's
love shirts.
right. Hey, maybe it was for that. I don't know. But like, and I can't remember exactly how she did it, but it was just like, I don't remember if it was like per grade or if it's like, because sometimes kids can switch schools and it's like, so it's really their first year there, but they're in 4th grade, blah, blah.
Right.
Her first gift, year 1 for everybody, is always the Cozy Minimalist, which is the last right thing. No, the next right thing. I'm getting everybody's podcast confused. The next right thing, her
Emily P.
sister, Emily P.
sister.
Freeman's sister, the Cozy Minimalist, who's
Yeah.
excellent. Michaelin Smith, there's her name. She gives that book. And she's just decided. And so now at Prime Day or whenever it's on sale, she orders 4 because that's what she needs. And she's just like, I don't care. I don't care what's trending. I don't care what's this.
Right.
Like, I have decided this is what I'm giving.
Boom.
And so I've done
Brain space freed.
brain space freed. And then you have the ability to like aim to save money
Yeah.
because you don't need it right now. You're not
Right.
ordering it 4 days before you have to
Yeah.
give it to somebody because you've
And then
already
panicking that like it's not going to show up in time. Or all that
100%.
kind of
So
stuff.
then you go buy something else just in case that doesn't
I
arrive.
think the deciding once could potentially shift your life enough that you go from good brain, great skull to great brain, good skull.
Ooh.
I'm not
wow.
saying that could happen, but
there's a
there's
chance.
potential.
There's a chance.
Saying there's a
So you're
chance.
saying there's a chance. So like my decide once with gifts is like anytime a kid has a first birthday, unless I've been instructed by a parent that I love that they want something very specific, like,
Right.
hey, we're trying to get this thing, or they really want that. But if it's just like a come to a party and I
Yep.
don't know them as much, or they didn't give me any direction, like it's always 2 books and a stuffy.
Boom.
And I've done it like 4 times now. And I'm like, now I still get to pick the book and I still get to pick the
Right.
stuffy. But it's like, nope, that's my first birthday gift. So anybody listening, sorry, I've just ruined it if I end up sending your child a first
Spoiler
birthday
alert.
gift. But it's like, that's all it needs to be. And I don't be like,
100%.
I don't know, should I get like this like Montessori toy or should it be this or that? Like
Yeah.
no brain space.
And what's cool is like this philosophy ends up like, and we did this, I would say like your Taco Tuesday thing wasn't your first, or your beauty counter wasn't your first.
no, it's
Our
not my first.
thing
Those
was
are
like,
just examples.
hey,
I
we're
going to
have a family dinner.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have a Sabbath. And like
Right.
we've decided
Yeah.
on those days that they're set apart and they're important. And so, we've talked about this over and over again, and it starts to change other aspects. It's changed Friday, it changes Sunday, it changes Thursday, it changes Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so like deciding once in your life ends up changing the way that you're making decisions. And so like for like another random example is like we are now having family visitors come to our house. Like that's never been something we've done in our lives.
Right.
And
but now
so-
that we live here, people visit.
And so we've kind of decided here are the things we do. There's some leeway in that, but
little
it's
bit.
like we know we're going to go to this beach. We know we're going to go to this beach. We know we're going to jump off this waterfall. We know we are going to go like, and it's like
Yes.
we're going to eat here and here and here. And
It's deciding once is sort of like intentionally choosing your defaults.
yeah,
Because
because like
we do the same thing for Sabbath.
Yeah.
We go to the same beach for Sabbath.
yep. Because it's
And if
just
someday we magically want to be spontaneous and we're going to go somewhere
Yeah.
else, like we will, and that'll
Yeah.
be fine. It's not going to throw a wrench into
Right.
everything. But it's just like, nope, we've decided that for good reason, that's the best one to go to for us right now. And it works. And I have that written here. Like, you can decide once that you love being spontaneous with certain days or celebrations. Your decision can be more of
That's
like a
good.
stance or
Yeah.
a posture. Like we've decided once that every Valentine's Day, because we don't really do much, me and you, we're going to be spontaneous. The decision is we don't have a plan and we're just going to see what comes up that year.
right.
But
Are
now,
we deciding that right now?
I guess so. Maybe. I don't know. That's just my example. Actually, oh my word, that's actually the example I've written down. For example, you don't have to set it and forget it every Valentine's Day
yeah.
and do the same thing over and over
Some Valentine's
without circling
days
back to see if it's still
were
working.
really rough for me when I was growing up. They were just so hard. It was almost
You
like
are disgusting. You'll never find love.
Was that the one you were trying to fit in? That's good. Hey, Valentine's Day. We did it. Yeah. But what you can do, speaking of my Valentine's example, is name the fact and be honest that we don't really care what
Yeah.
we do for Valentine's Day. We
Yep.
can have that conversation
Yep.
and decide once. We don't really care.
Yep.
We're okay if it's this, if it's something super small or something super fun and
or
spontaneous.
nothing at all.
Or nothing at all.
Yeah.
And then we don't get to Valentine's and be like, are we doing something?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you want?
Yeah.
Are we? Like it's
Brooke
just,
turns into Ocean Girl on Valentine's Day now.
oh, nice. With a little bit of Mary Kate. Yeah, it's meant to clean up brain space, to get your coins back. I actually think I'd prefer to be Ashley if I had to pick. Let's be real. Yeah, it's not made to like hinder anything or feel rigid. It's supposed to be like, let's be intentional about choosing some of these defaults in our life and acknowledging how many there really are.
Yeah.
That even something like, what do I give a first birthday gift? Like that feels so little and small.
Right.
But we are making those decisions constantly.
Yeah.
It's why capsule wardrobes, I kind of skipped over the clothing part related to myself. Like I wouldn't say that I have a capsule right now, but I have figured out what I like and don't like. And it's been very helpful to be like, I shouldn't order that because I won't wear it as cute as it is. I've decided once that sweaters in that shape with those stripes are not for me.
Right.
So c'est la vie.
But Walk in Love shirts are for you.
They are. Everything comes back around. But they really are.
Yeah.
I mean, here's something. I went through a season of, this was a long time ago, where it was like, I don't know what to wear because we have a company that sells clothes. And so should I only ever wear our clothes for all the time? Or am I like, we just sell those and no, not cool, but just like, do I desire to be someone who like gets more ready every day?
Yeah.
You know? And I really didn't know. And it took me a long time to decide.
Yep.
And like, I have come back to like, you know, my decision once is that like my default is a Walk in Love shirt.
Right.
Because I found what I was doing is like, I was just wearing a different t-shirt every day. And then I'm like, oh, so my default is the comfort, is this style. Yeah. And then when I do get dressed up, I've already decided once that because I looked in my closet, every dress I own has small patterns on it. Every single one.
Yeah.
So don't order a maxi dress, Brooke, that has giant floral patterns on it. You won't wear it. It's not my vibe.
You rock a lot of polka dots.
Jess, you rock a lot of polka dots.
All right. Well, we're over an hour.
Wow.
So
sorry, guys.
We've decided that our episodes are around an hour.
I've decided once that I'm not sorry.
So our collection comes out this week. Discount code for the podcast listeners will be...
Oh, gosh.
Hormones.
No. Ew. Don't put me on the spot.
Decide once?
Sure.
Sure? Is the discount code sure? Or is it decide once?
I don't know.
I thought it would be hormones.
Ocean Girl.
Ocean Girl. The discount is Ocean Girl.
I was like, what was one of your characters that you wanted to be?
Mike Piazza. Or Mario.
People don't know how to spell Mike Piazza.
Ocean Girl or Mario. Those are your two options.
Vote.
Brooke always wins. No offense taken.
I would have picked Yoshi.
I normally would say that the podcast discount is the biggest, but now the subscriber discount is the biggest. So
just a little.
We still love you, podcast family. We still love you, butt clenchers, but
Absolutely.
that's just the way it is right now. We are so grateful for all of you who say, hey, I'm going to support this podcast. I'm going to support you and your business by buying t-shirts. It really means the world to us. Like, you know, if it's not in your budget, then it's not in your budget. Like, make good decisions, but we do really appreciate it. And if you have someone that's like, hey, this person has popped into my mind over and over and over again, like maybe there's a reminder that they need in this new collection. Yeah. We'll preview it. We're probably already previewing it, but go to our Instagram and our stories and check it out there. I don't know why I'm holding my hands like this.
I don't know either. It's like you're
very
praying.
strange.
Here's the church. Here's the steeple.
I don't know.
Open the doors and see all the people.
But yeah, thank you for listening, Brooke. Thank you for sharing. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, thanks.
I know that all the audience, all the butt clenchers just adore you. They really do. And you've really...
every girl's dream.
All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for making us a part of your week. Okay, I love you. Bye.